After my divorce, my parents forced me onto the couch, saying I was a disgrace compared to my brother. At least he built a steady life, they sneered. But when I drove up to the neighbor's house they always envied, and held the keys, their faces turned pale. This isn't just a story about a house, it's a story about a woman pushed to her absolute breaking point, who then quietly, relentlessly, built an empire from the ashes of her own humiliation. And let me tell you, the day she finally unveiled it? Pure, unadulterated justice. The springs of this damn couch dig into my back, a constant, physical reminder of exactly how far I've fallen. 3 months. 3 months of sleeping right here, in my childhood home, which has never felt more foreign, more suffocating. I'm Jayla, 36, and this is absolutely not where I pictured myself. I'm curled under a scratchy blanket that smells of mothballs, and I can hear my mother's sighs, heavy with passive aggression, every time she passes through the living room. Jayla, honey, her voice drips with that familiar sugary venom, could you please fold up your bedding before Xavier and Riley arrive? We wouldn't want them thinking we're running a shelter here. I bite back a sharp retort, a familiar burn in my throat, and just start folding. The front door swings open, and there he is, my brother, Xavier, all perfect white teeth and effortless charm, Riley trailing behind him, her designer handbag making its grand entrance first. Mom! Xavier embraces her, while I quickly shove my pillow behind the couch. The house looks amazing, as always. Unlike some parts of it, Riley whispers, loud enough for me to hear every syllable, a cruel smirk playing on her lips, adjusting her diamond engagement ring so it catches the light. My mother actually laughs at that. An actual, genuine laugh. Xavier, darling, Mom beams, I prepared your old room for you both. Fresh sheets, everything. My old room. The one I wasn't allowed to sleep in when I came back. Because Xavier and Riley need their space when they visit. The golden couple gets the bedroom. The divorced failure gets the lumpy couch. The sting was a physical blow every single time. Thanks, Mom, Xavier says, then glances my way. Hey, sis. Still here? Where else would she go? Riley adds, a glint of mockery in her eyes. I force a smile, a brittle mask. Just until I get back on my feet. It's been 3 months, my mother reminds me, as if I could possibly forget the suffocating passage of time. Your father and I are concerned. Just then, the front door opens again, and Dad walks in, fresh from his morning golf game. He barely glances at me before his face brightens, radiating pride, at the sight of Xavier. Son. Didn't know you were coming today. Surprise visit, Xavier grins, puffing out his chest. Had to show Mom and Dad the plans for the new dental practice. That's my boy, Dad beams, a warmth in his voice I rarely heard directed at me. Always planning ahead, always moving forward. Unlike, he doesn't finish the sentence. He doesn't have to. The silence hangs heavy, thick with unspoken judgment. I slip out to the back porch, desperately needing air, needing space from the suffocating weight of their expectations. Through the kitchen window, I can hear them gathering around the dining table, their voices animated as Xavier spreads out his business plans. My mother's voice, clear and cutting, floats out to me. This is what success looks like. My phone buzzes then, a notification from my freelance platform. Another 5-star review. Payment cleared. They have no idea about my growing business. They never ask, and honestly, I've stopped trying to tell them. Night falls, and the house quiets. Xavier and Riley retreat to my old room, while my parents head upstairs. I wait until the lights go out before grabbing my jacket. The night air is crisp as I walk down our street, past manicured lawns and luxury cars. I stop at number 42, the crown jewel of the neighborhood. 3 stories of modern architecture, floor-to-ceiling windows. Even in darkness, it commands attention. I press my palm against the cold metal gate, a slow, determined smile playing at my lips. My phone buzzes again. A text from Luca, my realtor. Asterisk papers are ready. Sure you want to do this? Asterisk. My fingers hover over the keyboard as I look back at my parents' house, where they've relegated me to the couch like some cautionary tale. Absolutely, I type back. Time to show them what failure looks like. Another message from Luca. Meeting tomorrow, 9 a.m. Bring the cashier's check. I take one last look at the mansion. Through the gates, I can see the for sale sign, barely visible in the moonlight. Soon that sign will come down. Soon they'll all see what I've been building while they were busy dismissing me. My phone lights up with a final text from my mother, asterisk. Don't forget to fold your bedding in the morning. The neighbors can see the couch through the window, asterisk. I pocket my phone without responding and start walking back. Let them worry about what the neighbors think. Let them fret about appearances and reputations. They have no idea what's coming. The couch springs creak as I lie down, but tonight, they don't bother me as much. I close my eyes, mentally counting down the days until I never have to sleep here again. Until I can stand in my own home, the biggest one on the street, and watch their faces when they realize that their failure of a daughter now owns the house they've envied for years. Sometimes, the best revenge isn't served cold. Sometimes, it's built quietly, brick by brick, while they're too busy looking down their noses to notice you rising. Riley just got promoted to senior account manager. My mother's voice rings with a kind of pride she'd never once used when talking about me. Isn't that wonderful, Jayla? I push my peas around my plate, feeling all eyes at the dinner table fixed on me. Congratulations, Riley. Thank you, Riley preens. The firm really values dedication and commitment. You know, sticking with things even when they get tough. The dig wasn't subtle. Neither was Xavier's smug smirk. Speaking of work, I start, trying to inject some enthusiasm. My online business has been, those little internet things. Mom waves her hand dismissively. Thomas, did you hear about the Hendersons' new pool? I clench my fork tighter, the metal digging into my palm. Another 5-figure payment had cleared this morning, but they'd rather discuss the neighbor's landscaping. Actually, I try again, my voice a little louder. I just landed a major client in Jayla. Dad cuts in, his tone patronizing. Perhaps instead of these computer games, you should let Xavier help you find a real job at his practice. Something stable. Xavier straightens up, preening. We could always use someone to answer phones. I make more in a week than your receptionist makes in a month, I mutter, the words barely audible, a silent scream of frustration. What was that, dear? Mom's tone sharpens, a familiar warning. Nothing. I stand up, gathering my plate. Thank you for dinner. In the kitchen, I start washing dishes, but freeze when I hear my parents' voices from the dining room, hushed but still audible. How long are we going to let her stay here? Dad's sigh is heavy, laden with disgust. What choice do we have? Mom replies, her voice tinged with pity. She's damaged goods now. No husband, no real job. The neighbors are starting to talk. Did you see Margaret's face when she noticed the pillow on our couch? At least Xavier gives us something to be proud of. I set the plate down before I shatter it. Damaged goods, the words echo, burning my ears, searing my heart. Grabbing my jacket, I head for the door. Where are you going? Mom calls out. For a walk. At this hour? What will people think? I let the door answer for me, a quiet click that speaks volumes. The night air helps, but my hands are still shaking as I walk my usual route. The mansion looms ahead, its windows dark except for one. A figure moves inside, probably the realtor doing a late showing. We meet again. I jump at the voice behind me. Lucas steps out of the shadows, his realtor's smile softer in the streetlight. Checking up on your future kingdom? Just walking. At this hour, I mimic my mother's tone perfectly, making him chuckle and me laugh despite myself. The paperwork's nearly ready, he says, more seriously. But I have to ask, why this house? There are cheaper options that would still make your point. I think about the dining room conversation, about years of being the family disappointment, about the cutting words, the dismissive sighs. Because sometimes, I say, my voice low and fierce, enough isn't enough. Fair enough. He hands me a folder. Preliminary inspection report. Thought you might want to review it before tomorrow. Our fingers brush as I take it. Thanks. You didn't have to come out here. Maybe I wanted to. His eyes meet mine, a warmth in them I hadn't expected. You know, there's a great coffee shop around the corner. Open late. For a moment, I'm tempted. So tempted to just be seen, to be heard, to not be alone. But then I remember the last time I trusted someone's kindness. My ex-husband's face flashes in my mind, his charm, his promises, the way he smiled while telling the divorce court I'd never amount to anything. The ghost of that betrayal is a cold knot in my stomach. I should head back, I say, pulling away. More dishes to wash. Luca nods, understanding in his eyes. Tomorrow then, 9 a.m. Don't forget the check. I watch him walk away, then turn back toward my parents' house. Through the window, I can see them all still at the table. The perfect family portrait, minus the black sheep. My phone buzzes. Another client request. Another opportunity they'll never acknowledge. That's fine. Let them think I spend my nights walking off shame and failure. Let them wonder why I disappear with my laptop for hours. They'll understand soon enough. By the way, if you're still with me on this wild ride, make sure to hit that subscribe button. More unbelievable stories of triumph and quiet revenge are always coming your way. Back inside, I hear Riley's voice from the kitchen. I just feel so bad for her. 36 and sleeping on a couch. I would die. Don't worry, Xavier replies, his voice laced with arrogance. Once we're married, we'll never end up like that. I clear my throat as I enter, enjoying the satisfying way they jump. You're right, Riley. You would die. Fortunately, I'm made of stronger stuff. Jayla, she starts, but I'm already heading to my couch. I pull out my laptop, opening the inspection report Luca gave me. The mansion's details swim before my eyes: square footage, property taxes, recent renovations. All mine, soon. Bought with the money I earned while they thought I was just browsing social media. Mom walks by, tooting at my screen time. If she looked closer, she'd see 6 figures in my business account. But she doesn't look closer. None of them do. That's their mistake, not mine. I wasn't snooping. Not really. I was just looking for a spare phone charger in Dad's study when the papers fell from Xavier's folder. Loan applications, rejection letters, overdue notices. They scattered across the floor like dirty secrets, exposing the truth. My perfect brother, the successful dentist, was drowning in debt. What are you doing in here? I whirl around to find Xavier in the doorway, his face draining of color as he spots the papers at my feet. Interesting reading material, I say, picking up a bank statement. Does Riley know your practice is hemorrhaging money? Give me those. He snatches the papers, his hands trembling. This isn't what it looks like. No, I scoff, a cold fury rising within me. Because it looks like you're using Mom and Dad's house as collateral for loans they don't know about. His jaw clenches. You don't understand business. I understand fraud. Rich coming from someone who can't even afford her own place. Before I can respond, Mom calls us for Sunday brunch. Xavier shoves the papers back in their folder, his warning glare clear. Keep your mouth shut. The dining room is set with Mom's best china, the set she only uses when she wants to impress. Riley sits at the table like she's posing for a magazine cover. Jayla, you could have at least dressed for brunch, Mom sighs, eyeing my casual clothes with disdain. I take my seat as Riley launches into a story about her latest client meeting, her voice laced with self-congratulation. Under the table, my phone buzzes with a text from Luca, *offer accepted. Ready when you are. Speaking of success stories, Riley turns to me with a serpentine smile. Jayla, you're such a perfect example of what not to be. No offense, but your life is basically a cautionary tale. Mom laughs. Actually laughs. Riley, Xavier warns, but his fiancée continues, emboldened. I mean, imagine ending up divorced and homeless at your age. This is why I always say career should come first, right, Evelyn? My mother nods approvingly. Riley has her priorities straight, unlike some people. Dad adds, his voice dripping with judgment. I stand up slowly, my chair scraping against the hardwood, a sound that feels deafening in the suddenly silent room. You're right, Riley. I am an example. I pull out my phone, dialing Luca's number. Hello. Yes, I'm ready to move forward with the purchase. Full asking price, cash offer. The table falls silent. Utterly, completely silent. What purchase? Mom asks sharply, her eyes wide with confusion. I hold up a finger as I continue my conversation. Yes, I can sign this afternoon. Perfect. I hang up and smile at their stunned, gaping faces. Sorry, just finalizing some details on my new house. What house? Xavier's voice cracks, a desperate tremor. Oh, just a little place down the street. You might know it. Number 42. Mom's fork clatters to her plate, echoing the shattered composure in the room. The mansion? Don't be ridiculous. Would you like to see the proof of funds? I ask, my voice sweet, laced with steel. Or maybe the pre-approval letter. I have them right here. I pull the documents from my bag, the papers crisp and official. All those hours on my laptop? I wasn't playing games. I was building an empire while you were busy mocking me. Riley snatches the papers, her perfectly manicured nails crumpling the edges. Her eyes widen as she reads the numbers, her perfect facade crumbling. This isn't possible, she whispers, the words barely a breath. Funny thing about rock bottom, I say, taking back my documents, my voice firm. It teaches you how to climb. But that house was supposed to be in the family. Mom stammers, her face a mask of disbelief. It will be, I correct her, a chilling certainty in my tone. Just not the part of the family you expected. I turn to Xavier, a predatory gleam in my eyes. By the way, brother dear, you might want to tell them about those loan applications before the bank does. The color drains from his face as Mom and Dad spin around, their gazes now fixed on him. What is she talking about? I grab my bag and head for the door, pausing only to savor Riley's horrified expression, her perfect world shattering around her. Thanks for brunch. And Riley? You're right. Career should come first. That's exactly what I did. Outside, Luca waits in his car. Ready to sign some papers? I slide into the passenger seat, watching through the window as chaos erupts in the dining room. Xavier gesturing wildly, Mom pressing her hands to her face, Riley standing frozen, a statue of pure shock. You know, Lucas says as we pull away. I've never seen someone buy a house out of spite before. Not spite, I correct him, a deep satisfaction filling me. Justice. He glances at me, a knowing smile playing on his lips. The look on their faces must have been worth every penny. Oh, it was. I lean back, a wave of memories washing over me. A moment 20 years ago, teenage Jayla winning first place in a state competition, only to have Xavier's second-place tennis trophy take center stage at dinner. But this isn't just about the house. No, it's about showing them that their measuring stick was always broken. I pull out my phone as another client payment notification pops up, a quiet testament to my truth. And sometimes the best revenge is letting people choke on their own assumptions. Luca smiles. Well then, let's go make you a homeowner. The mansion looms ahead. No longer a symbol of what I couldn't have, but a monument to what they never saw coming. Welcome to your kingdom. Luca drops the keys into my palm, the metal still warm from his hand. Want to do the honors? The front door swings open silently, revealing marble floors that stretch into infinity. Sunlight streams through floor-to-ceiling windows, painting everything in gold. My footsteps echo in the empty space. My empty space. Previous owner left some furniture, Luca says, following me inside. Said you could keep whatever you want. I run my hand along a pristine kitchen counter. It's perfect. Security systems top of the line. Here's how to. A knock at the door interrupts him. Through the glass, I see a woman in her 50s, elegant in a way that reminds me of old money. Can I help you? I ask, opening the door. I'm Rosalie. She smiles, but it doesn't quite reach her eyes. I used to own this house. Luca steps forward. Mrs. Smith, I wasn't expecting. No, you wouldn't be. She turns to me, her gaze piercing. May I come in? There are things you should know about this property. I glance at Luca, who shrugs. Your house now. We settle in the sunroom, Rosalie perching on the edge of a leather armchair like she's afraid to get too comfortable. Beautiful home, isn't it? She gazes out at the garden. I didn't want to sell it. I was forced to. Forced? I lean forward, a chill running down my spine. By Thomas Edwards. She watches my reaction, a ghost of a smile. Your father, I believe. The room suddenly feels colder, the sunlight dimming. What are you talking about? Your father and I had some business dealings years ago. When they went south, he used certain information to pressure me into selling this house well below market value. She pulls out an envelope, sliding it across the table. He wanted it for your brother. Xavier had it all planned out. My hands shake as I read the documents she provides, emails, contracts, threats veiled as business proposals. It was all there, a chilling testament to my father's true character. Why are you showing me this? Because I recognized your name on the sale papers. Rosalie's smile turns sharp, a glint of steel. And I believe in karma. Luca clears his throat. I should give you ladies some privacy. No, I say quickly. Stay, please. After Rosalie leaves, I sit in silence, processing. My father's fingerprints on this house, his dark plans for Xavier. It's almost poetic that I bought it instead. You okay? Luca asks softly, his voice gentle. Help me take down these drapes. We work together, pulling down heavy fabric that's blocked the light for too long. Each window we clear feels like exposing another truth. Your security code, Luca says later, programming the system. Choose something they'd never guess. I type in the date of my divorce. The day they stopped seeing me as family and started seeing me as a failure. My phone buzzes. A text from Mom, Xavier and Riley are coming for dinner tomorrow. A small engagement celebration. You'll make yourself scarce, won't you? I show Luca the message. Perfect timing. For what? For moving in. I start making calls. Movers, cleaners, designers. Time to show them what scarce really looks like. Hours pass as we prep the house. I direct furniture placement, set up my home office, arrange my belongings, all the things I've stored in a rental unit while sleeping on their couch. You've been planning this for months, Luca realizes, watching me unpack boxes of high-end electronics. Since the day they relegated me to the couch. I connect my laptop to multiple monitors. Every night they thought I was out wandering, I was working, building, planning. Remind me never to underestimate you, he says, a genuine admiration in his eyes. The sun sets as we finish the main floor. Through the windows, I can see my parents' house looking suddenly small and shabby in comparison. One last thing. I pull out a small box, removing a framed photo, teenage me at my graduation, standing alone while my family clustered around Xavier in his tennis uniform. Why keep that? Luca asks. To remember why I'm here. I place it on my new desk. And what I overcame. My phone buzzes again. A message from Xavier, * mom says you're moving. Where could you possibly be going? * I don't respond. Let them wonder. Let them worry. Tomorrow, they'll have their answer. Luca helps me set up the security cameras, angled perfectly to capture the street and their house. You know they're going to lose it when they realize. That's the point. I stand at my front window, watching lights go out in their house. They wanted me invisible. Instead, I bought the one house they can't ignore. Dinner tomorrow should be interesting. Oh, I won't be at their dinner, I smile, thinking of the moving truck I've scheduled to arrive right when their little party begins. I'll be too busy moving into my mansion. Luca heads for the door, pausing with his hand on the knob. Need help tomorrow? Actually, I say, surprising even myself. I'd like that. He grins. Then let's give them a show they'll never forget. The moving truck's engine cuts through the quiet afternoon just as cars start pulling up to my parents' house. Perfect timing. I watch from my new driveway as Riley's red BMW parks, followed by Xavier's sleek Mercedes. Ready? Luca asks, helping the movers unload. Born ready. Mom appears on her porch, champagne flute in hand. She freezes mid-sip as I direct a designer sofa through my front door. Jayla. Her voice carries across the manicured lawns, a strangled shriek. What are you doing? I wave cheerfully. Moving. Xavier and Riley emerge from the house, drawn by the commotion, their jaws dropping in perfect sync as they realize where I'm moving to. Is that? Riley squints at my new home. No. No way. I'm arranging flowers in my foyer when Mom storms in, not bothering to knock. What is the meaning of this? I believe it's called home ownership, I say, calmly adjusting a lily. You should close your mouth, Mom. The neighbors might see. This isn't possible. This house. You can't. Her face is pale with rage. Actually, I can. And I did. I hand her the scratchy couch blanket she'd given me, the one that smelled like mothballs. Won't be needing this anymore. She clutches the blanket like a lifeline, her knuckles white. Your father will hear about this. Oh, I'm counting on it. Through the window, I see Riley confronting Xavier by his car, waving what looks like papers in his face. Their perfect engagement party dissolving into chaos. Those are private. Xavier tries to grab the documents. Private? Riley shrieks. Like the 3 maxed-out credit cards? The second mortgage? The gambling debts? Mom's face pales, her eyes wide with dawning horror. What is she talking about? Ask your golden boy, I suggest, a cruel satisfaction washing over me. Or better yet, ask Dad about his history with this house. Rosalie Smith sends her regards, by the way. The color drains completely from her face. You spoke to Rosalie? She whispers, her voice barely audible. Fascinating woman. Full of interesting stories about Dad's business practices. Outside, Riley throws her engagement ring at Xavier. You told me your practice was thriving. Baby, please, don't baby me. I won't be dragged down by your lies. She storms off, leaving Xavier standing there, his carefully constructed facade crumbling to dust. Mom rushes out to damage control, leaving me alone in my new home. Well, not quite alone. Wine? Luca appears with 2 glasses. God, yes. We're enjoying the show from my front window when Rosalie arrives, right on schedule. Quite the entertainment, she says, accepting a glass. Though I must say, your mother looks rather unwell. The truth often has that effect. Mom's shrill voice carries through the open window. Xavier, tell me these accusations aren't true. Mom, I can explain. Explain what? Dad appears, late from golf, looking utterly bewildered. What's going on? Why is Riley leaving? And why is there a moving truck? He stops, finally noticing me in the mansion's window, a triumphant smirk on my face. I raise my glass in greeting. No, he whispers, loud enough for us to hear. That's impossible. Funny, I call out, that's exactly what Mom said. He storms toward my door, but Luca meets him first. This is private property, sir. Unless you're invited, I'll have to ask you to leave. This is my daughter's house. Exactly, I say, joining them. My house. My rules. My life. Thomas. Rosalie steps forward, her voice calm but cutting. Lovely to see you again. It's been 5 years since you threatened to expose my late husband's affairs unless I sold this house. Dad stumbles backward, his face ashen. You, me? She sips her wine, a dangerous twinkle in her eye. Karma is a fascinating thing, isn't it? Mom appears behind him, her face a mask of confusion and fear. Thomas, what is she talking about? Nothing, dear. Just business. Business? Xavier laughs bitterly, appearing behind them, his face a mess. Like the business advice you gave me? Look how well that turned out. They dissolve into accusations and denials on my front lawn, the perfect family portrait shattering like dropped glass. Should we stop them? Luca asks, a hint of concern in his voice. Let them fight, Rosalie suggests, calmly. Sometimes a family needs to break before it can heal. This family won't heal, I say, watching Mom sink onto my front steps, head in her hands, utterly defeated. But maybe it needed to break anyway. Xavier storms off in his Mercedes. Dad follows Mom back to their house, shoulders slumped, defeated. The engagement party guests have long since fled, leaving half-empty champagne glasses and scattered congratulation cards in their wake. Well, Luca raises his glass. Here's to new beginnings and old endings. Rosalie adds, joining the toast. I look around my beautiful new home, then at the wreckage I've caused next door. You know what? I don't regret a single thing. Good. Rosalie smiles, a genuine warmth in her eyes. Because, darling, this is just the beginning. Through the window, I watch my mother close their curtains for the first time in 20 years. Finally, she's the one hiding from the neighbor's eyes. The doorbell rings at 7 a.m. Through the security camera, I see Mom standing there, perfectly coiffed despite the early hour. Jayla, open this door immediately. I take my time walking downstairs, letting her stew. When I finally open up, she pushes past me into the foyer, her eyes scanning my new home with a critical glare. We need to discuss the situation, she announces, as if this were her house. Xavier needs this house. I nearly choke on my coffee. Excuse me? It's always been his dream home, you know that. She runs her finger along a marble counter, checking for dust. He's going through a rough patch, and this would help him get back on his feet. Like you helped me get back on my feet with a couch and contempt? That was different. You were damaged goods. I set my mug down hard, the clatter echoing in the foyer. That's what you called me, right? When you thought I couldn't hear you. She has the grace to flinch. We were worried about you. No, you were worried about what the neighbors would think. There's a difference. Regardless, she straightens her spine, a flicker of her old imperious self returning. Xavier needs this house more than you do. Name your price. I laugh, a hollow, bitter sound. It's not for sale. Don't be difficult, Jayla. This petty revenge isn't a good look. Neither is forcing Rosalie to sell through blackmail. But that didn't stop Dad, did it? Her face goes white. That's not, you don't understand business. Actually, I do. Want to see my books? I pull out my laptop, opening a spreadsheet. 6-figure months, Mom. While you thought I was just a failure with a computer, I built something bigger than Xavier's practice ever was. Speaking of business, a new voice calls from the doorway. Rosalie walks in, holding a thick folder. I brought those documents we discussed. Mom's eyes narrow, suspicion warring with fear. What documents? Oh, just some interesting paperwork about Dad's real estate dealings, I say, taking the folder. Tax records. Shell companies. Threatening emails to other property owners. The board reviewing his broker's license would love to see these. You wouldn't dare. Try me. She grabs her purse, her composure finally shattered. Your father will hear about this. Good. Tell him the statute of limitations on fraud is longer than he thinks. After she leaves, Rosalie pours us both coffee. That went well. Did you see her face? My phone buzzes. A text from Riley, can we talk? 20 minutes later, she's sitting in my kitchen, looking less polished than usual, her bravado gone. I had my first ultrasound today, she says, pulling out a grainy black and white photo. It's a girl. Congratulations, I say, and I mean it. I'm not showing yet, but... She takes a deep breath. Your mother's been calling. Apparently, Xavier told them. Of course, he did. I guide her to the kitchen, putting on the kettle. They want me to give him another chance. For the baby. She wraps her arms around herself, a fragile gesture. Your mom offered to pay off his debts if I come back, and I said no. A small, fierce smile plays at her lips. I told her I learned from watching you that sometimes walking away is the strongest choice. The kettle whistles. How did she take that? She hung up. Then your father called, saying something about family loyalty. I hung up on him. I hand her a mug of tea. Proud of you. That's actually why I'm here. She pulls out some papers. The DA wants me to testify about Xavier's financial dealings. About what I knew, when I knew it. Are you going to? Already did this morning. She meets my eyes, a new strength shining through. Your father's being indicted next week. I thought you should know. As if on cue, tires screech outside. Dad storms up my driveway, face purple with rage. Security systems armed, I tell Riley as he pounds on the door. He can't get in. You, he shouts through the glass, his voice cracking with fury. You turned everyone against me. Your own father. No, I call back, my voice steady, calm. Your actions did that. Everything we had? You built everything through fraud and threats. I step closer to the door. How's that working out? Mom appears behind him, trying to pull him away. Xavier's car screeches up, adding to the chaotic tableau. Dad, stop. The neighbors are watching. I laugh, a genuine, mirthless laugh. Still worried about the neighbors, Mom? She freezes. For the first time, I see something like understanding, like utter defeat, cross her face. Thomas, she says quietly, her voice broken. Let's go home. Not until it's over. Her voice cracks. We did this. All of it. Dad deflates suddenly, aging years in seconds. Xavier stands there, lost, as his perfect world crumbles completely around him. Riley? He spots her through the window, a desperate plea in his eyes. Baby, please. Goodbye, Xavier. She turns away, one hand protectively over her stomach, a symbol of her new beginning. They leave slowly, a funeral procession of their own making. Through the window, I watch them return to their house, the house that once felt like a prison to me. "You okay?" Riley asks softly. "Better than okay." My phone buzzes. "Luca, dinner tonight?" "Yes," I text back, then turn to Riley. "Stay for lunch. We can talk about single mom life, business strategies, whatever you need." "I'd like that." She manages a real smile, a genuine, hopeful curve of her lips. "You know, I used to think you were the cautionary tale. Turns out you were the wake-up call we all needed." The afternoon sun streams through my windows as we talk. Outside, I see Rosalie walking her dog, waving as she passes my parents' house. Mom peers through their curtains, but doesn't wave back. "Your daughter," I tell Riley, "is going to have a much better example than we did." Speaking of examples, she nods toward Luca's car pulling up. "He's good for you. We're taking it slow." I watch him walk up with takeout bags. Building something real this time, unlike everything they built. She gestures next door. "Exactly." Later, after Riley leaves, I curl up in my sunroom, my favorite spot in the house. Through the windows, I can see my parents' place. Dark, except for the blue flicker of TV light. Luca joins me, his presence comfortable, grounding. "Heard about your father's indictment. Karma comes for everyone eventually." "You're not sad about it?" he asks. "I'm sad about who they chose to be," I say, my voice calm, clear. "Not about the consequences." He takes my hand, and for the first time, I don't pull away. I let myself lean into him, finding solace in his quiet strength. Outside, Xavier's car starts up, probably heading to another bar. Mom's silhouette appears in their window, then vanishes. Let them hide behind their curtains now. Let them whisper and worry and wonder where they went wrong. I've got sunshine, success, and something real growing with Luca. I've got Riley's friendship and Rosalie's wisdom, and a home that's truly mine. Most importantly, I've got myself, stronger and clearer than ever before. They wanted me invisible. Instead, I became unavoidable. They wanted me quiet. Instead, I spoke truth to power. They wanted me broken. Instead, I built an empire. And from my sunroom couch, so different from the one they relegated me to, I can finally say, I won. What about you? Have you ever had a moment where you finally stood up and reclaimed your power? What did that feel like? Tell me your stories in the comments below, I really want to know.